can find a podcast of Focus Orlando on our website, 660WORL.com. Once again, here's Daryl Moody.
Welcome back, and thank you once again for listening to Focus Orlando each week right here on News Talk 660 WORL and 1520 The Biz. I am your host, Daryl Moody. I'm joined once again by Jim Henners. He's the president of the Greater Orlando Area Chapter of SOFA. That's the Society for Financial Awareness. In the last segment, we talked a lot about people's personal finances, your investments. We talked about consumer debt. We talked about your budgets. Now, I want to talk more in depth about those things because SOFA actually is out there in the community doing good, educating folks on their finances, on budgets, on the things that people really need to do. And Jim, you and I were talking about this in the break. You know, people need to understand that you know, what the situation we're in right now is bad. And if we don't start making changes in our personal finances at home with budgets, you know, it's only going to get worse. I mean, how are we supposed to hold our elected officials to a standard of fiscal responsibility if we're not willing to do it at home?
Exactly right. And it really begins, Daryl, we think at SOFA, with helping people just become aware. Our founder likes to ask people, what grade was it where you had that class that taught you all about the stock market, asset allocation, estate taxes, budgeting, mortgage refinancing, and FICO scores? What class was that in school? And the average person shrugs and says, I didn't take anything. In fact, I learned it on the street. Or maybe we learned it from our parents, from what they either did well or didn't do well. But at any rate, there's no body of consistent information and education out there in all these areas for people. We're sort of left to fend for ourselves. So maybe it's not so surprising that we fall prey to the advertising wiles of the industry, and pretty soon we find ourselves where we are.
And that's what makes the work of SOFA all the more important. I mean, you know, you can't really, I don't want to say that you can't hold people responsible because you should. But unfortunately, the traditional avenues of education don't focus on life management skills. They don't teach you how to write a budget. They don't teach you, like you said, the importance of your FICO score and protecting your credit. You know, the great thing about education is you can learn, you know, anything in the world except how to make money.
Well, that's exactly right. So SOFA's stated mission, Daryl, is the elimination of financial illiteracy. We all talk about literacy across the country. People can't read, but financial literacy is maybe just as prevalent in many respects. And so we believe that mission is all important. And what we do is basically put on free financial literacy seminars for groups around the country. They're either employee groups or churches or synagogues or various clubs, and hundreds of employee groups in state and local government. Some of the names that we've spoken to and helped this way over the last 18 years include names you'd recognize like NASA, the FBI, Disney, the U.S. Marshals, the American Red Cross, Boeing, even the U.S. Mint. But, of course, there are thousands and thousands of much smaller companies and organizations as well. And our free presentations are given in sort of a workshop format, usually but not always, in a lunchtime, lunch and learn type of setting, so that it integrates with employees' work time and so forth. And most recently, we put one of these on, for example, for a seniors group in the town of Windermere. And we're scheduled to put another one on this next quarter for the FAA here in Orlando. The kind of topics that we address include probably our most popular one is getting fiscally fit. But we also have topics like current investment issues in a fragile market, cash management, legal lessons for life, issues and problems in real estate. Everybody's got those. Women and money in retirement. I don't know if you know this, Daryl, but women now control more of the wealth in this country than men. But yet women traditionally, anyway, the younger ones don't have this issue so much, but traditionally have been the least educated about that. Estate planning and tax planning. All are typical topics that we provide for people. I'd say the hallmark of SOFA is that we're a not-for-profit. And that's probably the key thing that we stress when a local group wants to have us come and talk, is that there's absolutely no selling, no recommending of anybody's products or services. So the people like HR directors feel really safe that their employees won't be sitting in front of some big sales pitch. the other distinctive about SOFA is that we're a collection of independent professionals from a lot of different disciplines, rather than just a single representative. So when we address issues like real estate, I'll bring a realtor in to talk about that. Or if people have issues with finance problems, we'll bring a refi expert to come in and talk. And we can pull these kinds of people in who really have deep experience in these areas and can really scratch where the itches the most. The other difference, too, is because we are a collection of professionals that are from a lot of different disciplines, we're really different than, say, a representative from the mutual fund company or the insurance company that provides the local organization's 401k, whom you sort of expect them to speak to your employees about their specific company's products. Our scope's a lot broader, as you can see. We cover a lot of ground. And so, look, if I can just take a second and describe for you, Daryl, the process of how it works. First, I meet with the organization's representative to find out exactly what their needs are and how we can tailor a workshop series to who they are. Next, one of our seminar coordinators contacts them to organize the schedule. They may set up a once-a-month schedule for 3 months, or a once-a-week schedule for a month, or just a one-time type of a seminar, but we kind of prefer the series. And once that schedule's set, they also provide all the promotional materials for the HR person or the other organizational representative to give to their employees or members. Because HR people, as you probably know, are really busy people. They got a big job, and one thing they don't want to do is begin inventing promotional materials and start marketing these things to their employees. It's all done for them by SOFA. And then finally, since we've been at it for 18 years, we've got a pretty well-oiled turnkey system that busy people like HR directors and other organization heads really appreciate, because it's all done for them. So that's how we do it.
Now, what if people want to? Obviously, it takes money to do these things. How do you guys generate revenue?
Now, that's a great question, and we usually get to that in our first talk with the representative. We charge no fee, as I mentioned, and we sell nothing in the seminars, as I mentioned. So the way we do this is that whatever professional we have addressing the group, we'll make an offer to all the attending members there that if anyone would like a free hour consultation with them or with me, they can have that in a different setting and at a different time. And when people elect to do that, sometimes then they use the legal services of a lawyer that's speaking to them, or maybe the realtor that they're talking to begins to work for them, or they work with me on some kind of a financial plan for themselves. But that's not mandatory. That's just an offer. And so, probably 80% of the time we just give the seminars and walk away. But a lot of times people will say, well, I would like to talk to somebody. I do have these issues, and that's how eventually we can be compensated.
So basically, you guys kind of volunteer your time to orchestrate these seminars, and at the end, it's a good source for you to get business.
That's exactly right. We are a total volunteer organization, and we've been doing it for 18 years.
Well, good. Do you have any events coming up here in the near future in Orlando?
Well, as I mentioned, we just finished one for the town of Windermere for their seniors group. We have one that's going to be scheduled for the FAA. We had it scheduled for the 14th of December, but apparently there's been a conflict, so we're going to be doing it sometime in the first quarter of next year.
Okay, so if I've got a listener that's listening to the show right now and they go, wow, this is really fascinating stuff, I'd love to sit in on one of these seminars, how do they connect to SOFA and how do they get involved?
Okay, let's lay out three possibilities here. I think step one is to visit SOFA's website so they can kind of see what SOFA is all about. I'll give you that website. It's just sofausa.org. sofausa.org, and on there they'll see all the organizations that we work with, the kinds of topics we cover, and there's also a contact list. Second, they can contact me directly. They can call my local number here, and I'll give that out. I don't mind. It's 407-287-6136. Or they can go to my website, and there's contact information there that's personalcommandcapital.com. Personalcommandcapital.com. The other thing they can do, you ask if they can attend an existing seminar. Normally these are put on for various groups. So if they want to contact me and ask for example, to attend one that we've got scheduled for some group, I'll be happy to contact the HR person or the person in charge of that particular seminar in their organization and ask if an outsider would be allowed to come in and attend.
Okay, and do you see a lot of that? I mean, I would imagine if I were an HR person for my corporation and I, was putting together one of these presentations for my employees, I don't know that I would want anybody sitting in on it.
Well, that's right. Now, recently, I just spoke to a good friend of mine who has a small business here in Orlando. It's a small freight forwarding company. He said, gee, we're too small. We only have 5 people. What if we organized a SOFA seminar series for a lot of us small companies, employees all to come to at once? And so we're working on that concept. We're trying to get it set up so that we can do it at the local extension building of UCF over by Lake Eleanor. And if people want to contact me about that, we'll have some more details on that schedule as that develops here, hopefully in the next month or so.
Fantastic, Jim. If I could get your contact information one more time for the listeners.
Sure, absolutely. My local phone number here is 407-287-6136. My local website is personalcommandcapital.com.
He's Jim Henners. He's the president of the Greater Orlando Area Chapter of SOFA, the Society for Financial Awareness. Jim, I really appreciate you coming on the show this week. Like I said, you responded to one of the promos I started running this week where I basically am soliciting nonprofit organizations to contact me. And if you've got a good story, if you've got something good that you're doing out there in the community, I'd love to have you on the show. That's exactly what we did here. And thanks for coming on, Jim.
Daryl, thank you.